Hey, good evening and happy Women's History Month to all the women out there, whether you are a sports reporter, whether you are an athlete in the WNBA, whether you are an SNY, ESPN, whether you are an author, entrepreneur, radio personality, podcaster, whatever career field you are doing to make your dreams come true with your dream careers from USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the tri state areas of New Jersey, Connecticut, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man and homie, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Rhymes with now or later, just like the candy. Your host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, creator, YouTuber, Queens, New York native who is also a New York Giants and New York Mets fan from the neck of the woods of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you are now rocking with me by listening, tuning in, streaming, and watching the 118th episode of the Sports Edition show. Excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast. And man, oh man, I got a great show for you today. And what a good time to be a New York Mets fan so far, man. So far, the Mets are doing pretty well in spring training so far. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And yeah, we are live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube and the comfort of my room where I do my podcast recordings. And if you missed any episodes whatsoever, please feel free to actually click on that subscribe button on the sports YouTube channel page. This is the platform where I talk about things in football news, including the New York Giants, basketball news, including the New York Knicks, the New York baseball news, the New York Mets as well. So yeah, look, I apologize for not putting this episode out on streaming platforms because my internet was acting very strange yesterday, so that's why I couldn't give y'all an episode where the quality of the video and the audio was out of sync. So I couldn't do that to y'all. So it was best for me to actually do this episode over. So I'm doing this right now. So yeah, there you go, right there. Just wanted to clarify things for you people at home that's wondering why 118 hasn't been dropped off on streaming platforms. That's why. All right, man. And leave a like and a comment alongside with the sports topics. By the way, folks, you can also leave a 5-star rating and alongside with a positive review. And you can also check out my community tab as well. I'll probably have to add the link to my link tree so you folks at home can actually, you know where you can actually, chime in, tell me how you feel about the topics. I can even sometimes pose a question on there too. Yeah. So yeah, I will actually add that link for the community tab for the sports YouTube channel page. So yeah, there you go. All right, man. Let's cut to the chase right here and um get to this. The quick side bleacher bar. Let's do this. Yeah, sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button for this segment. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's start off with the retirement of a basketball player that used to be from the New York Knicks. So let's get to this right here. So, all right. So according to the folks from USA Today, New York Knicks guard Malcom Brogdon announced his retirement from the NBA on Wednesday, October 15th, which took place months ago. Brogdon played for 5 teams over his 9 years in the league and was expected to play his 10th season as a member of the New York Knicks before announcing his decision to retire. He was the 2016 7 to 17 Rookie of the Year and the 2022 to 23 six man of the year. While he had still shown an ability to compete at the level in recent years, Brogdon was expected to be a backcourt depth piece and reserve playmaker. Here's what Brogdon's announcement means for him and the New York Knicks. So let's get to these questions here. So, why did Malcolm Brogdon retire, you ask? Brogdon released a statement on his decision to retire. He said, in quote, I have proudly given my mind, body, and spirit to the game over the last few decades. Brogdon said, I am deeply grateful to have arrived at this point on my own terms. What does this mean for the Knicks roster, you ask? Um, with Brogdon's decision to retire, New York is expected to have an open roster spot. He had only been with the team for a month and would have had to compete for minutes on the floor with backup guards Jordan Clarkson, Miles McBride, and Landry Shamet on the roster. What does this mean for the Knicks salary cap? Well, NBA teams had until Saturday to waive a player on a non-guaranteed contract and not incur a salary cap charge, according to SNY TV's Ian Begley. Brogdon was one of three veterans on the roster, along with Shamet and Garrison Matthews, to be on non-guaranteed deals with the Knicks. Brogdon signed a one-year deal worth $2.3 million with the Knicks on that took place on September 15th. All right. In other Knicks news, let's hold on. All right. In other Knicks news, all right. Um, so there is beating good teams in the second half. Then there is what the New York Knicks did to the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday afternoon at Madison Square Garden. Behind Mikal Bridges' 25 points and 5 steals, New York drubbed the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, who entered the weekend matinee in the Big Apple on an 11-game winning streak. In quote, obviously, this is one of the better teams in the league, but you use every game as a benchmark once the All-Star break passes, head coach Mike Brown said. Um, I've been with teams where we've lost against good teams and we still won championship. You use every game, but this is a better team, and you can really look closely at it to dissect different things about the game because it could be a potential matchup in the playoffs. But whether we win or lose, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to make it to our ultimate goal. In as complete and balanced an attack as seen all season, Jalen Brunson added 24 with 7 assists. Karl Anthony Towns posted 12 points and 14 rebounds, and Josh Hart had 10 points, 10 boards, and 7 helpers of his own. Off the bench, rookie forward Mohamed Diawara was solid for a second straight game, recording 14 points on 4 3-pointers. 2 nights prior in Milwaukee, he posted 10 points and 3 boards in 23 minutes. Damn. The Knicks 39-22 turned the game on its head early with a 26-2 run between the first and second quarters, which overturned an initial 19-7 hold. At one point during that run, New York reeled off 19 straight points, which was the largest unanswered run allowed by the Spurs this season. uh, while Bridges had the hot hand, shooting 10 of 17 from the floor and 5 of 9 from 3-point range. Hart once again provided the sandpaper necessary to lead a collective effort to neutralize Spurs star Victor Wembanyama, who still had 25 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 blocks in the loss. But the Knicks forced him to commit 7 turnovers. His afternoon was embodied just over 4 minutes into the third quarter when, with the Knicks up 61-51, he cut in front of the much larger Wembanyama 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 for an offensive rebound off a Miss Brunson floater and got it out to Bridges for an open triple. Once a team that struggled mightily defending the perimeter, the Knicks held the Spurs to just a 26% success rate from deep. End quote. This was a good win by our guys, Brown said. For them to shoot 26% from the three, our activity from the weak side was good. We had 5 guys on a string. So when we went to go help on dribble drives, our weak side was active in the right way. Okay, let me see. What else can we talk about here, man? Yeah, in other basketball news, hold on. Wait a second. And let me see. Yes, in other basketball news, let's get into this right here. All right, so Rick Pitino was happy his team prevailed, but far from ecstatic. He didn't like much about number 18 St. John's performance in a tougher than expected 72-69 victory over Georgetown Tuesday night at the Garden. On senior night, the Johnnies lacked energy and were flat for large portions of the win. They needed a furious rally over the final 14 minutes to avoid what would have been a terrible loss. End quote. I'm disappointed because my guys are having a difficult time understanding style of play. This team has played Connecticut and Villanova to the wire. They keep it close with tempo, Patino said. after St. John's came from 12 down in the second half for its 15th win in 16 games. And I tried to explain to excuse me, I tried to explain that to them, and they just thought it was another game. So they aren't mature enough to understand styles, and that was very disappointing as a coach. We had to really dig deep because we didn't have it to win. Oof. Well, damn, that's just that's just crazy and fucked up in a way. If you really want to get technical, yeah, that's really messed up though. Man, All right. All right. All right. Let me before I continue this, man. Let me give credit where it's due to the creators, the directors, the producers who who made The Simpsons the most successful um, cartoon ever. Reached over their 800 episodes, and of course, everyone in the team, the directors, the producers. I don't know everybody's name by heart, so I'm just gonna say this: the team who started The Simpsons and stuff. So the credit goes to you. Anyway, let's continue. Let's continue. So Georgetown has now lost 7 straight games, although 6 of those losses have come by 7 points or fewer. End quote. I think we'll learn a lot from this game, Patino said. It was something that definitely needs to be learned about styles of play. In the NCAA tournament, as well as our conference tournament, every night is a different style. Before the game, St. John's honored seniors Zuby Ejiofor, Dylan Mitchell, Bryce Hopkins, um, Oziah Sellers, and Han G. No, excuse me, Han J. Temba. Um, End quote. It was an emotional night. It was everything I thought it would be. EGO4 said. I appreciate the fans. My family was obviously out there as well. Guys were saying I was going to cry, but there were no tears shed. It was special. It was a night I won't forget, obviously. It was a lot better coming out with the win. St. John's has now beaten Georgetown 11 consecutive times. Kevin O. D. D. Um, is still out with a right leg soreness and remains out on the sidelines. Okay, okay. Let's get to. We got an unfortunate passing actually. We have an unfortunate passing that we got to talk about here. Let me see. Let me find it. Hang on 1 second. Let me find that story. All right. Okay, here we go. Unfortunately, we got a baseball athlete who passed away recently. All right, so the baseball world was stunned by the sudden passing of Terrence Gore, a renowned outfielder known for his lightning fast speed and pivotal roles in multiple World Series victories, according to House and Whips. At just 34 years old, Gore left behind a legacy as one of MLB's most effective pinch runners, having played for teams like the Kansas City Royals, Chicago Cubs, Los Angeles Dodgers, Atlanta Braves, and the New York Mets. His ability to steal bases in high stakes moments made him a fan favorite and a secret weapon for championship contenders. Reports indicate that Gore died unexpectedly due to complications from a routine surgical procedure, though officials' details remain limited. So it's not really suggested what what that specific cause is. So they kept that on the wraps. Okay. Speculation from social media and unconfirmed sources suggest issues such as an appendix burst or anesthesia related problems may have contributed, but his family has not publicly confirmed the exact cause. Gore was in Panama City at the time, where he had been working as a coach for a youth baseball organization, Hurricane Sports Baseball. His death, announced on a Friday, sent shockwaves through the sports community, prompting an outpouring of tributes from former teammates, fans, and organizations. And I believe Wardy talked about this on his channel. I forget this. I forget what he mentioned in regards to the exact cause, but I'm not going to get into it though. All right, a storied career on the diamond. Terrence Gore's journey in professional baseball again when he was drafted by the Kansas City Royals in the 20th round of the 2011 MLB draft. Though he never became an everyday starter, appearing in just 109 regular season games over his career. His specialized skills shown in the postseason. In 2015, he played a key role in the Royals World Series triumph, stealing bases that shifted momentum in crucial games. The following year, he joined the Chicago Cubs and contributed to their historic curse breaking championship, ending a 108-year drought. His nomadic career continued to yield success. In 2020, Gore was part of the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series winning squad, and in 2021, he added another ring with the Atlanta Braves, despite modest stats: 224 batting average and no home runs. Gore's value lay in his base stealing prowess. With a career 44-47 success rate, he was often called upon in late innings to turn singles into scoring opportunities, embodying the unsung hero architect type. No, hold on, archetype in baseball. After retiring as a player following a stint with the Mets in 2022, Gore transitioned to coaching, sharing his expertise with young athletes in Panama. Okay, tributes and lasting impact. In the wake of his death, tributes flooded social media and official statements from his former teams. The Kansas City Royals issued a heartfelt message mourning the loss of a player who brought light in a world full of dark. The Omaha Storm Chasers, a Royals affiliate, joined in expressing grief, highlighting Gore's influence on the baseball world. Fans reminisced about his electrifying speed, with one recalling how you couldn't let any Royal get on base in the ninth, because that meant Gore was pinch running and you just didn't have a chance. Gore is survived by his wife Brittany and their three children, leaving a profound void in their lives. His net worth, estimated from MLB contracts and endorsements, reflected a successful career, but those close to him emphasize his humility and dedication to family over fame. As the baseball community processes this tragedy, Terrence Gore's story serves as a reminder of life's fragility. Even for those who seem invincible on the field, his contributions to four World Series titles, despite limited playing time, cement his place as a legendary specialist in the sport's history. Let's see. Yeah, so SIP to Terrence Gore. All right, so I don't know if you heard about this former pitcher. I don't know if I talked about this, but I don't know if I talked about this, but probably didn't. But the San Diego Padres signed right-handed pitcher Ty Adcock to a one-year deal Thursday. Welcome to San Diego, Ty. We have signed right-handed pitcher Ty Adcock to a one-year contract through the 2026 season. Um, Adcock, age 28, pitched for the New York Mets over the past couple of seasons, making six total appearances. He struggled through 4.1 innings. Let's see, in 2024, allowing 7 runs in the process, but had a much better campaign last season. He made 3 appearances in 2025, allowing just 1 run through 3 frames. He also recorded 5 strikeouts in the process. Adcock made most of his appearances last season in AAA, where he had a decent season. He made 31 appearances for the Mets AAA affiliate, posting a 4.66 ERA while logging 35 strikeouts and 3 saves. The right-hander caught fire towards the end of the season, not allowing a single hit through his last 6 appearances of the campaign. The Seattle Mariners drafted Adcock in the 8th round of the 2019 draft, though he didn't make his professional debut until 2022. He quickly rose through the ranks with the Mariners, posting a 1.74 ERA in 2023 before being called up for his debut towards the middle of June that season. Adcock made 12 appearances for the Mariners in 2023, posting a 3.45 ERA through 12 appearances. The Mariners designated Adcock near the beginning of the season in 2024, and the Detroit Tigers picked him up for a month before placing him back on waivers. The Mets then grabbed him, and he stayed with them through last season before declaring free agency. Let's see. Now with the Pirates, Adcock will look to carve out a role for himself in a bullpen, which had the lowest ERA in baseball in 2025. So there you go, right there. All right. Okay. Now Steve Cohen. Let's go to Steve Cohen actually. So obviously Steve Cohen obviously learned a big lesson. So basically, all right, so here it is. So it's been a steep learning curve for Mets owner Steve Cohen, just as it is for most successful businessmen who buy professional sports franchises. Since purchasing the team from Fred Wilpon in late 2020, Cohen has tried to buy his way to a World Series title, which you can't, spending $1.57 billion on players as accounted for by Major League Baseball's luxury tax system. That's on top of the $2.4 billion he paid for the franchise. Ooh. Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me see. All right, so what does he have to show for it? Mostly a bunch of early postseason exits and a team this year spending the final days of the season trying to make the playoffs after frittering away a big lead to the Philadelphia Phillies. Even after a furious comeback to win 9-7 in Chicago last night, they are 11 games behind the NL East, winning Phillies and only a game up on the Cincinnati Reds and Arizona Diamondbacks for the final NL wildcard spot. All right, this is a recap. This is a recap right here, folks. So just bear with me. Both the Reds and Diamondbacks own the head-to-head tiebreakers over the Mets. Last season, the Mets lost 6 games to the eventual World Series winning Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League Championship Series, and they had to serve a three-way tiebreaker on the last day of the regular season to clinch an NL wildcard spot to get that far. That's not a huge return on investment, particularly this season. This year has been a grind for this entire group. David Stearns, the club's president of baseball operations, said last week at a press conference in New York. It wasn't supposed to be this way, but the second half of the season has echoes of the Mets' worst team money could buy squad of 1992. On June 12th, the Mets had the best record in MLB at 45-24 with a 5.5 game lead over the Phillies. It has been all downhill ever since. When you are sitting where where we were in mid-June, we would not have expected to be in this spot. No question about it, Stern said, stating the obvious. We'll have time to evaluate and diagnose and do all of that stuff after it's all over. To be sure, the Mets could recapture come of last year's magic and still make the playoffs, but that was the antithesis of the season when they went 19-9 from August 28th of 2024 on to barely clinch a wild card spot. This year they are 7-12 in September, losing 8 in a row at one point and haven't shown much of a pulse. Put it all in a pot. Cohen's record of sustaining his managers and baseball ops leaders is a lot like firing hedge fund personnel who do not perform. No matter what it costs him, he could bring in a whole new crew. He's had 4 heads of baseball ops and 3 on-field managers in the 5 seasons he's owned the team, which may indicate trouble for Stearns and manager Carlos Mendoza. Billy Epler lasted 3 seasons as general manager. The veteran Buck Showalter was fired after the Mets hosted and lost a 3-game wild card series to the San Diego Padres in 2022 and failed to make the playoffs in 2023. Mendoza, who's overseen a club playing 35-52 balls since its June apex, has to be on very thin ice. Stearns built a team that has hit the 5th most homers in the league in 215, but has a 17th ranked pitching staff with a 3.99 ERA. He too has to be held accountable. Milwaukee spent about $200 million less than the Mets' second ranked payroll of $340.6 million, has a pitching staff with the second best ERA in baseball at 3.61. The Brewers have won 15 more games than the Mets and have the best record in MLB. Cohen has certainly thrown money at it. Under his watch, the Mets' role has ranked fourth, first, second, and second. Last season, he outbid the New York Yankees, signing Juan Soto to a 15-year, $765 contract that will take him through 2040 when he's 40 years old. After a slow start adjusting to a new team, Soto has had another MVP caliber season with 42 homers, 104 RBIs, a .931 OPS, a 163 OPS plus, and a WAR of 6.3, the last number in the Shohei Ohtani range. He swiped his 36 bag on Tuesday night, an improbable feat for a not so fleet-footed player. Let's see. So, but When the Mets broke spring training at Point St. Lucie, Florida this past March, their five projected starters, Clay Holmes, Tyler McGill, David Peterson, Griffin Canning, who's with a different team right now, and Kodai Senga, were earning a combined $38.7 million this season. That's $12.3 million less than the $51 million paid to Soto alone. That worked fine into June until pitches started to go down. But now only Holmes and Peterson are still healthy. The Mets are using young starters excuse me, Nolan Lightning McClain, and Jonathan to carry them down the stretch. The Mets didn't retool their rotation in the offseason after losing Luis Severino and Jose Quintana from the previous year, which was 2024. They added free agent Holmes, the Yankees closer, and converted him to a starter. Sharmanai opened the season on the injured list because of a right oblique strain sustained in camp and didn't return until July 13th. He failed to replicate last year's 12 wins season and has won only 2 games. Even with that predicament, the Mets didn't add any starting pitching at the July 31st trade deadline. They did add to the bullpen, acquiring relievers Ryan Helsley, who's also with the Orioles, Tyler Rogers, who's also with the Blue Jays, and Gregory Soto, who's also with the Pittsburgh Pirates. But that hasn't staunched a meltdown of late and 27 blown saves. Whew. Helsley, the former St. Louis Cardinals All-Star closer, has been awful with an 8.47 ERA in 20 appearances. Should Stearns have been even more proactive? That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. If I knew how our season was going to play out, absolutely, Stearns said. Those are the decisions Stearns is paid to make. As Cohen continues to navigate his own learning curve, you can bet the owner is evaluating. Watch this space. Also in Steve Cohen news, let's see. Also in Steve Cohen news, let me see if I could find that. Hold on 1 second here. Yes, here we go. All right. The debate over who the next hold on. The debate over who the next Mets captain will be is over, at least for the foreseeable future. It won't be anybody. Mets owner Steve Cohen said Monday that as long as he owns the team, the title captain won't be bestowed on a player. There will never be a captain, Cohen said. He added the decision is based on how he would like to see the clubhouse run. He said, in quote, every year a team is different, Cohen said, and let them figure it out in the locker room rather than having a designation. Having a captain in baseball doesn't happen often. It's actually unusual. Whatever previous ownership did, that was their way of doing things. I look at things differently. In recent seasons, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, and Pete Alonso, aka the Polar Bear, emerged as potential captains. Nimmo and Alonso departed the organization after last season, which appeared to clear the way for Lindor to land the title. David Wright, former captain of the New York Mets, who played his final game for the Mets in 2018, was the team's last captain. Keith Fernandez, Gary Carter, and Johnny Franco have also carried the title for the Mets. In quote, since I've been sitting in this chair, we have been pretty consistent with the captain, and there's a reason we haven't named one, manager Carlos Mendoza said. The way I see it, the way we see it is we have a bunch of guys there that are part of that leadership group. We lost a few guys that were part of the leadership group, and then we have gained some guys who have done that. I think when you are talking about a major league locker room, you need to have not only one guy, but a few guys. That is what makes teams great. So it's nothing new for us. Cohen touched on numerous topics during his annual spring training news conference, including his disappointment that the team failed to reach the postseason last year. We haven't won, and I really want to win, Cohen said. Each year it goes by, I get more annoyed. Cohen said he's committed to the game and how much the fans care. End quote. I know we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of 1986, and that's just too long, Cohen said, referring to the Mets' last World Series title. There's a lot of great teams out there. No matter what you do, it doesn't mean you will win it with a really good team. Compounding Cohen's frustration was that last season's second half collapse, which kept the team out of the playoffs, followed a magical 2024 in which the Mets reached Game 6 of the NLCS. You just never know what the season is going to bring, Cohen said. In 24, we weren't very good out of the gate, and then it turned completely around. In 25, we were in first place in June, and then it did did the opposite. The longer I've been here, the more I realize that all I can do is commit the resources, allow my baseball people to pick the players, and then a lot of it goes year to year, and it's dependent on injuries and a lot of things. The two-time defending World Series champion Dodgers reloaded in the offseason, adding free agents Kyle Tucker and Edwin Diaz, which I talked about episodes ago, among others, to an already loaded roster. Cohen was asked about the Dodgers having potentially widened their gap on the competition. And he said, in quote, they are formidable, Cohen said. They have the ability to spend, so do I, by the way. They have built a great team, but I think we have built a great team, and I think we're going to be real competitive this year. And the goal is to meet them somewhere along the way in the playoffs. All right. Speaking of predictions, I want to talk about the differentiation between a leader versus a captain. That's why I picked this topic, actually. Now, leadership is an essential quality for any successful baseball team. Teaching youth players to lead effectively, both as captains and as role models, fosters teamwork and accountability while preparing them for challenges beyond the field. And this is from Cheshire Reds. Cheshire Reds. Anyway, um, so baseball is often referred to as a thinking man's game. Provides a unique platform to develop leaders both on and off the field. Leadership on a baseball team isn't just about being the loudest voice in the dugout or the player with the highest batting average. It's about demonstrating consistency, earning respect, and inspiring others to rise to their potential. The post dives deeper into how to develop captains and role models in the world of youth baseball. Now, the role of a captain in baseball consists of captains um, act as the linchpin between players and coaches. They are tasked with setting the tone for the team, ensuring that the dugout stays energized and the field remains disciplined. Unlike other sports where physical dominance might define leadership, baseball captains must possess a strategic mind to guide teammates through situational challenges like defensive alignments, bunt coverages, or rallying the team after a tough inning. Characteristics of a baseball leader includes game awareness. Captains should understand the game inside and out. They need to anticipate plays, recognize when to shift the infield, or provide guidance to younger players about positioning. Calm under pressure. A leader thrives in high stakes situations, whether it's delivering a clutch hit, making a defensive stop, or calming a pitcher after a tough call. Captains lead with composure. Work ethic. The best leaders lead by example. They are the first to arrive at practice, the last to leave, and consistently put in extra work in the batting cage or bullpen. Now, how coaches can develop captains. Well, first and foremost, number one, foster baseball IQ. Dedicate practice time to teaching the mental side of baseball. Run scenarios like first and third situations, cut off drills, or double play tactics. Encourage players to think critically about the game. Leaders will naturally emerge as players who grasp these concepts and help others execute them. Number two, encourage communication. Leaders in baseball must master communication, from calling for fly balls in the outfield to relaying signs as a catcher. Incorporate drills that require vocal teamwork, such as rundowns or relay throws. Reward players who step up and communicate effectively. Number three, promote accountability. Assign small leadership roles, such as organizing warm ups or leading team huddles, to build confidence. Teach players to hold each other accountable, whether it's maintaining focus during practice or picking each other up after errors. Number four, create mentorship opportunities. Pair experience pair experienced players with newcomers during drills or game simulations. This helps instill a sense of responsibility in older players while providing younger athletes, to be exact, with relatable role models. Number five, highlight positive examples. Celebrate leadership moments in real time, whether it's a catcher guiding the pitcher through a tough inning or a shortstop rallying the team after a defensive miscue. Acknowledge and praise these efforts publicly. Instilling leadership off the field. True leadership extends beyond the diamond. Encourage players to embody sportsmanship, respect, and humility in their daily lives. Team captains can lead initiatives like community service projects, mentoring younger teams, or organizing equipment drives. Developing role models, not just captains. Not every player will wear a captain's C, but every player can be a role model. Teach players to focus on the controllables, effort, attitude, and commitment. Role models inspired by their actions, diving for a ball in practice, hustling out a grounder, or cheering from the bench. The impact of leadership in youth baseball. When players learn to lead on the field, they develop skills that will serve them far beyond the dugout. Confidence, communication, and responsibility are traits that will shape their futures as athletes, students, and professionals. All right. All right. Now that I got that out the way, I want to actually I want to get into this. Michael K is really pissing people off, man. You're not gonna believe what he did. All right, and this is from Sports Illustrated. It's no secret that the New York Mets have multiple former Yankees players on their roster heading into the 2026 season. The most notorious is Juan Soto, who pitted New York's two teams against each other for a bidding war. The Mets ultimately won with a 15-year, $765 million deal in December of 2024. Clay Holmes then joined Soto in switching New York teams that winter. And then both Devin Williams and Luke Weaver did the same this past off season. When a player is traded in the middle of a season, it's common to see them having some piece of their old team's equipment still in tow when they reach their franchise, even if it's just for a game or two. But Luke Weaver being seen carrying his Yankee equipment bag into the Mets Port St. Lucie training facility that took place on February 9th was different, given that Weaver has had several months to get his Mets gear. And then this is where Michael K comes in. Michael may hold on. I'm sorry. Weaver's doing so clearly rubbed New York radio broadcaster Michael K the wrong way, which he conveyed during a February 9th episode of the Michael K show. Oh, jeez. The Mets gave him a 2-year and $22 million contract, and he's carrying his equipment in a Yankee hold on in a Yankee bag. You got the Yankees New York logo. I mean, show a little respect to your new organization, K said. I mean, the Mets deserve better than that. They paid you a lot of money. All you had to do was call up the Mets at some point during the offseason and say, listen, can you send me an equipment bag so that when I come to Port St. Lucie, I'm carrying a Met equipment bag with blue and orange rather than the Yankees midnight blue and white. But he didn't do that. It's like players don't think the right thing to do. It's not right. You owe it to the Met organization. You are a Met now. You shouldn't be carrying a Yankee bag. K continued. Now, is the bag incident the end of the world? Of course, it's not the end of the world. And I'm not trying to make a big deal out of it. Well, you already did. But goodness, I mean, have some consideration for the team that just paid you a lot of money, he concluded. One would one would imagine that K isn't the only person who feels this way. Okay. First of all, Michael K needs to get his he needs to get his shit out of his ass right now. You're making a big deal off of a fucking sports bag. Did you buy the bag for him? I don't think so. And it's not the end of the world just because he has a fucking Yankees bag. Like, come on now. Like you how about worry about your how about worry about the New York Yankees instead of worrying about other people? You're not the president of who has a New York Mets bag or not. You're not the president. And to all you idiots who's making a big deal off of this, stop this bullshit. Just stop. Like, come on now. And you mean to tell me that you mean to tell me you're gonna waste your time being hot as fish grease over fucking Luke Weaver's bag? Come on. If anybody should show respect is Michael K. He's pissed a lot of Mets fans off, including a fellow YouTuber. Shout out to Wardy for pointing that out in one of his videos and stuff. And I have to agree with Wardy on this, man. Like, cut the act, man, and concentrate on your shit. Concentrate on your damn radio show. Concentrate on broadcasting the New York Yankee games. Stop worrying about other people and what they don't have, because nobody asked you for your fucking opinion. All right. And I just feel like this right here, this stunt that he pulled is a fucking epic fail. He did that on purpose, man, just to get attention. Shit. Unfucking believable, man. That's an epic fail for me, man. I'm sorry. That's an epic fail right there. All right. All right. All right, on to the next topic here, man. Let me see. Let's see. On to the next topic. Okay. Tony Clark. Oh boy. Tony Clark is in real trouble right now. He's in real trouble, according to Sports Illustrated, with a potential lockout looming at the end of the 2026 season. Some news broke on Tuesday morning. Ken Rosenthal, Evan Drellich, and Andy McCullough of The Athletic reported that MLBPA executive director Tony Clark is expected to resign after concerns from players amid a federal investigation. Not much is known at the present moment, but soon the MLBPA will have to look for a new person to fill Clark's role. They'll have to do it quickly too, as the collective bargaining agreement expires in December, December 1st to be exact. Ultimately, this is very bad news for Major League Baseball and the Players Association. The timing of this could not be any worse. Clark has been the head of the Players Association for 13 years and fought hard for the players to get a fair deal prior to the 2022 season. They ultimately got a deal done to end that lockout, but it appears that another one is on the way. Holy shit. You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. So the timing of this could not be any worse. Clark has been the head of the Players Association for 13 years and hard for players the fought hard for the players to get a fair deal prior to the 2022 season. They ultimately got a deal done to end the lockout, but it appears that another one is on the way. And to make matters worse, Clark is in some trouble, and that creates a lot of extra stress of the Players Association as they try to fight for a fair deal. This time around, Rob Manfred, the snake that he is right now in baseball, and the owners will be pushing hard for a salary cap, which baseball has never had. And the players need to make sure they have somebody representing them well that can help them fight against the owners' push for a salary cap. Oh boy. Oof. This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy stuff. Let's see. Let's see. A work stoppage feels all but inevitable. But if there is going to be a war over whether or not the league will introduce a salary cap, then a lot of games could be lost in 2027, even creating a risk of the season potentially not happening at all. Oh boy. But this is the last thing the Players Association needed, with their leader now tangled up in an investigation. And it only makes things worse as the potential lockout looms in 2027. The most logical candidate to take over for Clark is Bruce Mayer, so they could at least resolve this quickly. That is, if Mayer is hired in an interim capacity. But this situation only creates a distraction from what needs to be done. The longer it drags out, the more negotiations will be affected going forward. Oh, Lord. This is so fucking crazy, man. Um, let me see. Let me see. Okay, what else? Let me see. Um, the baseball classic lineup. World Baseball Classic lineup. Let's see. All right, we're gonna go over the lineup. Let's go over the lineup. Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go over the lineup here, cause all right. So, so the World Baseball Classic, which is right now already started right now actually. So let's get into the World Baseball Classic rosters of 2026. So starting with Australia, Kieran Hall, right-handed pitcher, Kai Hampton, right-handed pitcher, Josh Hendrickson, left-handed pitcher, Sam Holland, no relation to Tom Holland, folks. Right-handed pitcher, John Kennedy, left-handed pitcher, Connor McDonald, right-handed pitcher, Cooper Morgan, left-handed pitcher, Mitch Newborn, no, Rich Newenborn. Anyway, Jack O'Laughlin, Rockies, Warwick, Supold, Blake Townsend, Todd Van Steenside, Alex Wells, um, Latchland Wells, Cohen Wynn, Michael Edwards, Alex Hall, Robbie Perkins, Travis Bazana, Guardians. George Khalil, George Khalil, um, Jared Dale, Robbie Glendining, Curtis Mead, Logan Wade, Mixon Wingrove, Ulrich Borjarski, Chris Burke, Max Durrington, excuse me, Tim Kennelly, Aaron Whitefield. Now Brazil, you got Gabriel Barbosa, Joseph Contreras, Tiago, Tiago da Silva, um, Mu, Murilo, um, Govia, Hugo Bushi, Tomas Lopez, um, Joao Gabriel Marostica, Daniel Misaki, Oscar Nakaoshi, Eric Pard Eric Dinho, Enzo Sewayama, Bo Taka Bo Takahashi. Excuse me, Bo Takahashi, Victor Takahashi, um, Tiago Vieira, Hector Villarreal, Gabriel Gomez, Enzo um, Hayashida, um, Matthias Lelis, Gabriel Carmo, Dante Bichette Jr., Victor Ito, Felipe Coraji, Felipe Mizukoshi, Tiago Nishiyama, Leonardo Reginato. Hold on. Lucas Rojo, Osvaldo Carvalho, Gabriel Maciel, Victor Victor Maskai, Lucas Ramirez of the Angels, of course. Now we go to Canada, Logan Allen, Mika Ashman, Felipe Umont, Jordan Balazovic, Eric Carantola, Indigo Diaz, Brock, um, Brock, um, Brock Dykes Horn, and Antoine Jean, Adam Mako, James Paxton, Cal Quantrill, Noah Scuro, Mike Soroka, Jameson, um, Jameson Talon, Matt Wilkerson, Rob um, Zastrimsky, Rob Zastrens Z. I'm sorry, Zastryzny. Forgive me for butchering the name. Leon Hicks, Bo Naya, Tyler Black. Matt Davidson, Adam Hall, um, Edward Julian, Otto Lopez, Josh Naylor, Abraham Toro, Owen um, Casey, Denzel Clark, Tyler O'Neill, Jacob Robson, Jared Young. Let me see. Yeah, Canadians. Yeah, Canadians. Okay, so Chinese. Um, you know what? You know what? These names are going to be very hard to pronounce, so I'm just gonna actually, you know, yeah, these names are very hard to pronounce, so I'm not gonna really have time to get to all this. So let's, yeah, so the Chinese, Tai Pai. All right, so I'm not gonna waste my time with these names because they're very hard to pronounce. So we got Colombia, Elkin Alcala, Adrian Almeida, Austin Bergner, Dennis Correa, Pedro Garcia, Rio Gomez, Yapson Gomez, Tehran Guerrero, David Lordi, um, Emerson Martinez, Luis Patino, Jose Quintana, um, Jehan Romero, um, River San Martin, Julio Tehran, um, um, Gilo Zuni, Gilo Zunija, Jorge Alfaro, Daniel um, Vel- Daniel Velogin, Carlos Martinez, Carlos Arroyo, Michael Arroyo, Jordan Diaz, Daniel Frias, Ronaldo Rodriguez, Donovan Solano, Gio Ursula, um, Brian Buelvas, Gustavo Campero, Jesus Mariaga, Harold Ramirez. Now we go to Cuba, Frank Alvarez, Emmanuel Chapman, um, Josimar Cousin, Nakel Cruz, Daviel Hurtado, Denny Lorando, um, Yohan Lopez, Raydell Martinez, Randy Martinez, um, Livin, Liven, um, Moinello, Darian Nunez, Julio Robana, Alcia Rodriguez, Yariel Rodriguez, Luis Romero, Pedro Santos, Omar Hernandez, Andres Perez, Iris Bell, Arubarina, Yidi Cape, Yoan Moncada, Malcolm Nunez, Alexi Ramirez, Alexander Vargas, Yoel Yanqui, Alfredo Despain, Yoel Kiss on Guibert, Ariel Martinez, Lionel Moaz Jr., and and Roel Santos. Chia, Jeff Bartel, no, excuse me, Jeff Bartow, Philip Kapka, Tomas Defek, Lucas Air Coley, Lucas H. Louch, Philip Coleman, Mikhail Kovala, Marek Minarik, Jan Novak, Tomas Andra, Daniel um, Paddysack, Andrej Satoria, Martin Schneider, Andrej Venk, Boris V. Circa, Matois Bubenik, Martin Cervenka, Martin Zelenka, Martin Cervinka, um, let me see, Ryan Johnson, Volchek Mensik, Martin Music, Jan Pospi, Pospi Sil, excuse me, Milan Prokop, Terran Vavra, Marek, um, CHLUP, William Iskela, Marek, KREJCIRIK, Max Pre, Max Prejda, um, Mikhail Sendelka. Now we go to the Dominican Republic. Let's see. So Albert Abreu, Sandy Alcantara, Elvis Elvis Alvarado, Huasca Brazaban, um, Brian Bello, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Camilo Doval, Carlos Estevez, Juan Mejia, Wandy Peralta, Christopher Sanchez, Dennis Santana, Luis Severino, Gregory Soto, Abner Uribe, Augustin Ramirez, Austin Wells, Junior Caminero, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Cattell Marte, Manny Machado, Jeremy Pena, Geraldo Perdomo, Ahmed Rosario, excuse me, Carlos Santana, O'Neal Cruz, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, Fernando Tatis Jr. Great Britain, Jack Anderson, Brandon Beck, Tristan Beck, Donovan Benoit, Dylan Covey, Chavez Fernandez, Gary Gill Hill, Miles Langhorn, Ryan Long, Michael Peterson, Jack Seppings, Graham Spraker, Naker Victor, Tyler Visa, Nick Wells, Owen Wild, Vance Worley, Will Cresswell, Harry Ford, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Nate Eaton, Lucius Fox, Ivan Johnson, Ian Lewis Jr., B.J. Murray, Nick Ward, Matt um, Koperniak, Christian Robinson, Trace Thompson, Justin Wiley. Israel, Charles Bellison, Josh Blum, Matt Bowman, Harrison Cohen, Daniel Fetterman, Jordan Gerber, Tommy 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 Conley, Rob Kaminsky, Dean Kramer, Maz Lazar, Zach Lieben, Carlos Lee Curica, Josh Molitz, Ryan Prager, Ben Simon, Robert Stock, Zach Weiss, CJ Stubbs, Garrett Stubbs, Cole Carrig, Jake Joloff, Spencer Horwitz, Noah Manlinger, Matt Mervis, Benjamin Rosengard, Harrison Bader, Troy Johnston, Zach Levison, Asaf Lowengart, and RJ Shrek. Not the movie. Now, Italy, Sam Aldigari, Dan Altavilla, Dylan DeLucia, Matt Festa, Gordon Grace, um, Gracefo, excuse me, um, Alec Jacob, Joe Lasora, Michael Lorenzen, Ron Marinacio, Kyle Nicolas, Aaron Nola, Adam Ottavino, and Gabriel Quattrini, Claudio Scotti, Greg Weissart, Alberto Minio, Kyle Teal, Sam Antonacci, John Birdie, Zach DiZenzo, Andrew Fisher, um, Giaconino La Saracina, Miles Mastro Bioni, Vinny Pasquantino, Thomas Sagessi, Jack Caglione, Dominic Canzone, Jacob Marcy, Nick Morbido, Dante Nori, Shoya Tani, Shomo Fujihara, Yumeto um, Kan- Kane Maru, Yuki Matsumoto, Hiyomi Ito, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Koki Kitayama. Um, let me see. Let me see. Um, Tom, let me see. Tomoyuki Sugano. All right, man. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce all of these names, so let me. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce all these names, so just bear with me. So I'm just like, you know, trying to get through all this. Let me see. Let me see. So, all right. So we have Korea. Dane Dunning, Woo Suk Go, Ben Guak, Woo Jo Jung, Byung Hyeon Jo, Young Kyu Kim, Young Pai Yo Ko, K Young Un No, Riley O'Brien, Young Hyun Park, Hyun Jin Ryu, Hyung Jung So, Ju Young Sung, Seong Ki Sung, Yeon Chan Yu, Hyun Jung Kim, Don Won Park. Oh man. Anyway, and the list just goes on. Anyway, let me just go on to the next one. Mexico, Alexander Armenta, Avia Assad, Brennan Bernardino, Manny Barretta, Alex Carrillo, how you pronounce it? Jesus Cruz, Daniel Duarte, Robert Garcia. Um, oh boy, hold on. All right, Luis, um, Luis Gastelum, Andres Munoz, Sammy Natera Jr., Raul Ramirez, Geraldo Reyes, Victor Vodnik, Taiwan Walker, Alejandro Kirk, Alexis Wilson, Nacho Alvarez Jr., Jonathan Aranda, Nick Gonzalez, Joey Meneses, Joey Ortiz, Jared Serna, Rowdy Tellez, Luis Arias, Randy Arozarena, Duran, Alejandro Asuna, Alec Thomas, and Julian Ornelas, Jandrick Cornelia, Jamden E. Hold on, Easton Nista, Wendell Florenis, Eric Franson, Lars Huihar, Huijer. I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, Kenley Jensen, Antoine Kelly, J. Tone Kelly, Kevin Kelly, Sharon Martis, Eric Mendez, um, Justin Morales, Ryan J. Terry Morite, Chandrick O'Duber, Juan Carlos Sobaran, Derek West, Dylan Wilson, Hendrick Clementina, Chadwick Trop, Ozzy Albies, Xander Bogaerts, Didi Gregorius, um, um, Jeremy Profar, Charlon Shoop, Dason Crows, Ray Patrick Ditter, Drew Jones, Kadane Rafaela, and Delano Celsasa, Nicaragua, um, Danilo Bermudez, Duque Habert, Erasmo Ramirez, Carlos Teller, Kenward Burton, Ronald Medrano, J.C. Ramirez, Brian Torres, Ivan Cruz, Dilma Mejia, Oscar Rayo, Osman Gutierrez, Angel Abando, Carlos Rodriguez, Melvin Novoa, Ronald Rivera, Benjamin Alegria, Jose Orozco, Freddie Zamora, Chesler um, um, Cuthbert, Alien Rayo, Jeter Downs, Emmanuel Trujillo, excuse me. Brandon Layton, Mark Vientos, Chase Dawson, Omar Mendoza, Juan Monte, Ismail Mugia, excuse me. Um, um, Christian Sandoval, excuse me. Panama Dario Argraza, Miguel Cienfuegos, James Gonzalez, Logan Allen, Paleo Espino, Avi Guerra, Humberto Mejia, Abdiel Mendoza, Alberto Baldonado, Jorge Garcia, Kenny Hernandez, Andy Otero, Jamie Barria, Miguel Gomez, Ario Gerardo, Arian Rodriguez, Miguel Amaya, Christian Betancourt, Leonardo Berno, Jonathan Aruz, Edmundo Sosa, Jose um, Caballero, Ruben Tejada, Johan um, Camargo, Leo Jimenez, Enrique Bradford Jr., Alan Cordoba, Jose Ramos, Luis Castillo, Johnny Santos. Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, um, Raymond Burgos, Jose Espada, Giovanni Moran, um, Gabriel Rodriguez, Fernando Cruz, Rico Garcia, Luis um, Quinn, Luis Queenuns, excuse me, Luis Queenuns. Hold on, Queen Luis Queenunes. Okay, Elma Rodriguez, Jose De Leon, Seth Lugo, Angel Reyes, Saxel Rios, Edwin Diaz, Jorge Lopez, Eduardo Rivera, Ricardo Velez, Martin Maldonado, Christian Vasquez, Nolan Arenado, Luis Vasquez, Darrell Harnaez, Edwin Arroyo, Emmanuel Rivera, Willie Castro, Heliot Ramos, Carlos Cortez, Eddie Rosario, Matthew Lugo, Brian Torres, and MJ Melendez. Now to USA, Matthew Boyd, David Bednar, Clay Holmes, Garrett Clevenger, Griffin Jacks, Brad Keller, Clayton Kershaw, Noah Lightning McLean, Mason Miller, Joe Ryan, Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal, Gabe Spire, Michael Waka, Logan Webb, Garrett Whitlock, Cal Relay, Will Smith, not the actor, Alex Bregman, Ernie Clement, Paul Goldschmidt, Gunnar Henderson, Bryce Harper, Bryce Terang, Bobby Wood Jr., Byron Buxton, Roman Anthony, Pete Crow Armstrong, Aaron Judge, and Kyle Schwarber. And of course, Venezuela. Um, I'm not gonna really. Venezuela includes Luenda Avila, Jonathan Diaz, Anthony Molina, Carlos Guzman, Kaider Montero, Eduardo Rodriguez, Angel Zerpa, Edward Bazardo, um, Yoandres Gomez, Antonio Senzatella, Jose Buto, Christian Suarez, Ranger Suarez, Emmanuel De Jesus, Andres Machado, Daniel Palencia, Ricardo Sanchez, William Contreras, Salvador Perez, Luis Arias, Eugenio Suarez, Wilson Contreras, Gleyber Torres, Mikel Garcia, Ezekiel Tovar, Andres Jimenez, Will Yer Abreu, Ronald Acuna Jr., Jackson um, Chorio, and Avia Sinoja. Hold on. Hold on a minute. Gleyber Torres is with Tigers. Okay. Yeah, he's with Tigers. I didn't even see that. Anyway, let me see what else to talk about here. Yes, let's talk about the AI shit, man. I'm really getting ticked off about this. I'm getting ticked off about this though, man. This is crazy. Fucking crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right. How AI in baseball is analyzing over 15 million data points per game, um, um, according to Vertocent.com. Um, damn. AI in baseball is transforming MLB operations by improving umpire accuracy, predicting player injuries, enhancing talent scouting, and personalizing fan experiences through advanced analytics. AI in baseball is solving decades old operational challenges by transforming 15 million data points per game into actionable insights that improve fairness, performance, and fan engagement. Teams like the Miami Marlins use AI in baseball to analyze high frame rate video footage and build predictive models that forecast player development over 3 to 5 years. The first fully AI managed professional game proved that AI in baseball can handle real time strategic decisions under pressure. 15 million unleveraged data points per game. A single game of baseball generates a staggering 15 million data points: pitch velocity, spin rate, player positioning, swing mechanics, even the movement of spectators through stadium concourses is tracked. For most of the sport's history, that information either didn't exist or sat unused. But unleveraged data is where AI in sports really shines. Meanwhile, three critical operational challenges remain pervasive, undermining team performance and fan satisfaction. Um, Umpire calls remain inconsistent, costing teams games and eroding trust. Player injuries devastated payrolls and playoff hopes, despite millions invested in sports medicine. And traditional scouting methods miss talented prospects while overvaluing visible but flawed players. The advent of AI in baseball offers promising solutions to all three of these hurdles, with providers like Google Cloud and specialized engineering firms creating solutions that enhance the game for teams and fans. We'll see AI powered strike zone challenges in 2026. While pro teams like the Miami Marlins offer promising case studies for reducing injuries with AI and scouting talent more efficiently, I don't know how that's going to be possible to prevent injuries, but this is like one of the shittiest ideas anyway, but I digress. Um Baseball is transforming in big ways, enhancing America's pastime for generations to come. Three big problems AI is solving in baseball: challenging questionable umpiring, the strike zone, that invisible rectangle where pitches must pass to be called strikes, um, has always depended on human judgment. Home plate umpires make roughly 300 calls per game, tracking pitches that travel 95 plus miles per hour while breaking several inches in multiple directions. Research analyzing over 3 million pitches found that umpire accuracy varies across factors and biases. In one Boston University study of 4 million pitches demonstrated that MLB umpires make certain incorrect calls at least 20% of the time. Bad calls alter at bats, innings, and ultimately wins and losses. The introduction of traditional video replay helped, but added lengthy delays and didn't address the fundamental challenge: real time accuracy. Even the best umpires make mistakes because the human eye has physical limitations when tracking high speed objects at close range. In high stakes playoff situations, a single blown call could determine championship outcomes. MLB's big solution rolls out in 2026: the automated ball strike challenge system. The technology uses 12 synchronized Hawkeye cameras with 5G connectivity to track every pitch with accuracy within 1/5 of an inch. The hybrid AI in baseball model keeps human umpires on the field for traditional and game management, but allows players to challenge questionable calls. When a challenge occurs, the AI system analyzes pitch location relative to strike zone and displays results on stadium screens in less than 15 seconds on average. During testing phases, the system improved stat delivery by 300 milliseconds, enabling instant analysis of ball and strike calls that fans could see in real time. Players and managers report greater confidence in the fairness of officiating. According to a spring training test, 69% of fans preferred the ABS. More importantly, for operations executives, the technology reduces game stopping arguments and maintains the pace of play, detecting biomechanical deviations in real time. MLB teams routinely invest 20 to $30 million in individual player contracts, yet injuries remain stubbornly unpredictable. Pitchers develop elbow problems mid-season, requiring Tommy John surgery and 12 to 18 months recovery. Position players strain muscles during routine plays. The issue is that the traditional model was reactive, treating damage after it occurred. Bio Biomechanical stress accumulates invisibly over time. A pitcher's throwing delivery might show subtle deviations weeks before pain appears. Without sophisticated motion tracking, coaching staffs couldn't detect these warning signs until the damage was already done. The financial and competitive costs were enormous. Star players sidelined for months, rushed rehab attempts that led to re injury and playoff runs derailed. AI in baseball is changing this calculus through biomechanical analysis and predictive modeling. The Miami Marlins AI in baseball strategy employs vendors such as Hawkeye, Kinatrax, and Trackman to capture high frame rate video footage during every home game and throughout their minor league system. Other AI vendors for baseball like Infinite Sky have emerged to serve this need for pro sports teams specifically. These systems track all on-field activity, player movements, batting mechanics, pitching deliveries, generating comprehensive data sets that feed into machine learning models. Um, okay. The organization processes this information through internal database systems and uses ML models to generate actionable insights for coaching staff. Most critically, the AI in baseball technology creates constant feedback loops that provide real time information for better decisions. The system detects biomechanical deviations that indicate uh, acu- accumulating stress before players feel pain. Coaches can then adjust pitching schedules, modify training routines, or prescribe specific recovery protocols proactively. Um, the result is fewer trips to the injured list, longer player careers, and better return on payroll investments. Finding the next Shohei Ohtani, that's not possible. For a century. Oh man. Baseball scouting relied primarily on human observation. True. Experienced scouts developed keen eyes for talent by watching thousands of plays. Geographic limitations meant talented players from small markets or international leagues were often overlooked, and high profile prospects with visible tools but mechanical flaws were frequently overvalued. The core challenge was quantification. How do you objectively measure which amateur players will succeed against professional pitching 3 years in the future? How do you predict whether a 19-year-old swing mechanics will break down under the stress of 162 game seasons? Traditional methods struggle to answer these questions with the precision required for multi-million-dollar decisions. AI in baseball addresses this through predictive modeling and comprehensive data analysis. The Marlins, for example, build models designed to forecast player development trajectories trajectories over 3 to 5 year periods, informing decisions about team construction, free agency acquisitions, and trade opportunities. Yeah. What is it? Somebody said, okay, we use data from every pitch, swing, and play to understand who our players are today and who they could become tomorrow. Brian Chase, um, VP of Baseball Systems, Miami Marlins. And this person says, okay, so take a single player today, someone that we are looking into drafting. We have to find ways to accurately predict how good they could be in the coming years. Brian Chase, VP of Baseball Systems. All right, so the organization particularly employs generative AI tools to assist coaching staff and scouts in producing detailed reports. At the Marlins facility in the Dominican Republic, scouts observing tryouts can utilize AI-powered systems to document player performance during drills, simulated games, and practice sessions. Take a single player today who could really be on the major league roster, one of our minor league rosters, or someone that we are looking into drafting, Chase explains. We have to find ways to accurately predict how good they could be in the coming years. The approach bridges what Chase describes as the qualitative and the quantitative to make really informative decisions. Video analysis reveals mechanical efficiency that traditional observation might miss. Historical data on similar player profiles helps estimate development curves. Weather conditions, ballpark dimensions, and opponent tendencies all factor into the models. Um, the result is more accurate talent evaluation that helps teams find value where others see risk. Oh man, what the Oakland Ballers proved back in Oakland on that Friday night in September, the Ballers AI manager was making its final decisions. Distillery's real-time decision engine had spent 9 innings ingesting live game data, analyzing pitcher batter matchups, and recommending strategic moves. Throughout the game, fans watched explanations of the AI's reasoning on stadium screens, seeing the logic behind each substitution and positioning change. Oh boy. Oh boy. So let me see. When the final out was recorded, the Ballers had secured another victory. We set a modern era Pioneer League wins record this season, but we wondered, could we be even better with AI? Um, Friedman said, Paul Friedman said afterward, with Distillery and our AI manager, we not only brought our vision of hosting to the first AI sporting event to life, We also gave our fans a fun experience to enjoy while securing another victory. Let's see. Across MLB, the evidence is mounting that leveraging AI in baseball solves problems conventional methods couldn't touch. The more use cases are being identified constantly, like AI predictions for where home runs might land based on player batting history. AI in baseball is about aug- augmenting what coaches, scouts, and executives already do well with insights that were previously invisible. The teams building these systems are now are creating decision making capabilities that compound over seasons. In a sport where the difference between playoff berths and elimination often comes down to a handful of wins, those capabilities matter. When machines can manage games and humans can focus on strategy, development, and culture, baseball becomes something different than it was. Not worse or better necessarily, but more precise, more informed. At the conclusion of the game, Ballers manager Aaron Miles strode over to shake hands with the visiting team's manager, but instead of offering his hand, he offered the tablet he'd been running decision making AI on all game. The other manager and the umpires shook hands with it. It seems like the sport of baseball is now doing the same. Oh shit. Yeah, we're living in scary times right now with this AI mess though, man. You know what I'm saying? But I am going to talk about this on my comedy show, Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Avenue podcast in the future. So stay tuned for that as well. Let me see what else. What else do I have to talk about? Let me see. Let me see. All right. Clay Holmes, right? Clay Holmes. Let's get into how he did. Let's see how he did in the WBC so far. Clay Holmes, actually. So let's get into how he did. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Let's get into how he did. Okay, how you did. All right. All right. Um, let's see. Clay Holmes. How did he do? How did he do? Let's take a look here. All right. All right. So Clay Holmes was dominant in his first outing at the World Baseball Classic for Team USA, which is a superb sign for his New York Mets ahead of the 2026 season. The veteran right-hander, who is gearing up for his second season in Queens and as a starting pitcher, piggybacked two-time defending AL Cy Young winner Tariq Skubal of the Detroit Tigers on Saturday night against Great Britain. He went three scoreless innings on just 38 pitches, allowing just one hit with six strikeouts in the United States, 9-1 victory. Five of those punchouts came in succession across the fourth and fifth innings. Then in the sixth inning, he dropped a sweeper to get Yankee star second baseman Jazz Chisholm Jr. whiffing for his final strikeout of the night. That sweeper looked especially dominant throughout his outing, and it appears to be even nastier than it was last season. Out of his 38 pitches, against Great Britain, Holmes threw the pitch 12 times, 31.5%. while it was his second most used pitch last year. 2. He only threw it 19% of the time. This is from, was it Baseball Savant? On Saturday night, the sweeper averaged 18.1 inches of horizontal break, a significant uptick from last year when it averaged 16.8 inches. Before getting Chisholm for the second out of the sixth inning, he dropped the hammer in succession to Justin Wye and Trace Thompson to end the fifth inning, getting both Brits and whiff on the pitch. The Mets undoubtedly had to like what they were seeing from the 32-year-old who abandoned a closing role with the Yankees to join the starting rotation across town. He was one of their most consistent starters, even during the epic collapse that resulted in a postseason miss, going 12-8 with a 3.53 ERA. Holmes showed up to spring training with a workload well ahead of schedule compared to most starters in anticipation of his work in the World Baseball Classic. He was already at 3 ups when pitchers and catchers reported last month, while most of his peers were starting at 1 inning of work. Number 3 responsibilities in the Mets rotation are wide open behind Freddie Peralta and Nolan Lightning McLean, the 2 aces of the group. Should Holmes build on this showing, it bodes remarkably well for a team that also hopes to get Kodai Senga back to his brilliant form of 2023. Okay. Now I want to get to what is it? Yeah, I want to get to some sports podcasts of the week. Hang on a second here. Hang on one second here. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me see. Extra sports podcast. All right. Let me see. Mm, all right. All right. We're gonna get into. Hold on one second here. Let me just set this up. Let me set this up. Um, all right, time for our sports podcast of the week. This is where I give you recommendations of some sports podcasts for you to check out. So here it is. Sports podcast of the week. All right. All right, some sports podcast recommendations. Okay. Some of it is on audio streaming platforms, some of it is on YouTube. So I'm going to go through this as quickly as possible, so just bear with me. All right, you got Fantasy Baseball Today, the Sports Shots Pod, the Baseball Aficionado, Attack the Baseline, a WNBA podcast, Baseball Today, the Portal Daily Chat. Hold on. The Portal Daily College Recruiting and NIL podcast. Mets in the UK, Locked On NFL Draft Daily podcast on the NFL. New York Got Game, a New York basketball game podcast. Straight Out of Flushing, Mets podcast. Of course, shouts to Wardy. He is the co-host of Straight Outta Flushing Mets podcast. Actually, you can check it out on there. You can check it out on the New York Post Sports YouTube channel page. Make sure you subscribe over there so you can check Wardy out with Dexter Henry. Speak, Believe in Mets podcast, Mets Therapy. Actually, Just Mets, the Just Mets podcast. You got Giants Nation Show, Giants podcast, Queens of the Court, a WNBA podcast, 7 p.m. in Brooklyn with Carmela Anthony podcast, Talking Baseball MLB podcast, From the Borough podcast, the Giants Insider podcast, Locked On NBA Big Board, NBA Draft podcast, First Take, the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast, the Just Baseball Show, Baseball Tonight with Buster Olney, 10th Inning Talk hosted by April, Post Moves with Candace Parker and Aaliyah Boston, Mets Daily with Jake Brown, Fud Around and Find Out podcast in case you missed it with Christina Williams, Dropping Diamonds with DJ Diamonds, Good Game with Sarah Spain podcast, Welcome to Partay with Tisha Allen podcast, First Time Caller, Long Time Listener podcast with Laura Albanese. You got First Picture Fantasy Baseball podcast, Just Mets that I just mentioned, Naked Sports, the Orange Zone podcast, and New York Mets Dove Report. All right, let's see. Let me see. All right. You got Subway the Shade podcast, Till Mets Do His Part podcast, and you got the Shades and Sons podcast on YouTube. You got the Umpire State of Baseball podcast, who reached their 5th season. Congratulations to the crew over there. You got Shea Station, Locked On Mets podcast, Mets Up podcast. You got yeah. So let's see. What is it? Mets Weekly, the Mets Pod, Mets Podcast, We Gotta Believe, the Call Up and MLB Prospect Podcast. You got Top Bunk Sports and 7 Express Podcast, Cup of Mets, Subway Sports Talk Podcast. You have Mostly Mets, Mets Fix, Filthy Sports, He Did This to Me Podcast, Locked Up Sports New York. Locked Up Sports New York Sports Talk. You got let me see what else. You have Empire State Sports Report podcast. With Adriana. Who else? Yes. Even Wardy has his own podcast. So Wardy and NYM, a show about the New York Mets podcast. So you can check it out on all your streaming platforms and everything else in between. So hold on. All right. You got the 3 Inning Fan podcast with Kelly Franco. You got Mets Central. You got Mets Fixed. You got the Rico Bronya podcast with Evan Roberts. Locked On Mets podcast with Ryan Finkelstein. You have let me see, Foul Territory. You have Subway Sports Talk podcast. Of course, make sure you subscribe to Dominant Mets Nation on YouTube. He's also a fellow New York Mets fan as well. And of course, make sure you check out Metcast, Who's Right, Mets podcast. Of course, you can check out I'm Right podcast, along with why am I a Mets fan? Why am I? Hold on. Why am I a Mets fan podcast? All right, so yeah, you got talking baseball, you got bourbon and baseball, locked on Big 12 podcast, the Triborough podcast, locked on Yankees podcast and postcast. You got the Locked On NBA East Squad podcast, the Deferred Collusion podcast. You have let me see, Locked On Fantasy Baseball, Locked On Fantasy Basketball podcast. You got Locked On Nets podcast, Hoops for Hotties podcast, Born to the Game podcast. You got Locked On NBA, Locked On MLB, Locked On Fantasy Football. Nothing's Personal with David Sampson. Early Game. Let me see. You have TMZ Sports. You have Locked On New York Giants. Locked On New York Giants podcast, and you got the New York Giants squad show. It is what it is podcast, Locked On College Football podcast, Locked On College Basketball podcast. You got Locked On NFL Draft podcast, of course. Giants latest, with Adriana as well. Let's see. Locked On Syracuse podcast. You got Good Morning Football Overtime, plus the podcast itself. Locked On Mets postcast that starts when the regular season starts. Full Circle podcast. Locked On NBA Game Night podcast. Mets Mirage Online podcast. Of course, the Blunt Talk Sports podcast. Beyond the Jersey Sports Car CEO Official Collectibles podcast. Make sure you check those out. Let's see. What else? Let me make sure I don't miss out anything. And if I forgot to add more sports podcasts, I've been preoccupied with some things. So anyway, all right, let's see. So Getaway Day MLB podcast, Sports on Court, Full Sports Press podcast, JM Baseball, Locked On Big 12 podcast, Big Blue Banter, Dudes on Dudes podcast, the Big Podcast with Shaq, Funky Friday. Make sure you check that out as well. You got the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast, Nightcap, Around the Diamond Media, Mets Musings, Outside Sports Baseball podcast, Attack the Baseline, Giants Nation Show podcast, Giants Insider podcast, Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes podcast, Locked On NFL Draft podcast, 4th and 1 with Cam Newton podcast, All the Smoke, Locked On Bets, the Mina Kimes Show, the Pivot podcast. You got Games with Names with Julian Elderman podcast, Giants Huddle from the Borough podcast, Blue Rush, a New York Giants football podcast, Fireside Giants, Attack the Baseline, Full Sport Press podcast, Locked On Women's Basketball podcast, Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings podcast, Good Follow, Giants Collective, Locked On Yankees, Games on Games, Pitcher List Fantasy Baseball podcast, NFL Daily, the Deep Three podcast, Locked On UConn podcast, Pinstripe Chronicles podcast, the Wind Up, Manning Cast, Chatting Practice, Above the Rim with DH12 podcast, 10 Takes with Kyle Brent podcast, Meet the Mets Fans podcast, Walk Off Whiskey, Queens Baseball Live podcast. Make sure you subscribe to their channel on Thursdays at 8:30 on the YouTube channel page. Table Setters, a baseball podcast, 11.7 college baseball podcast, No Fouls Given, Hooping and Hollering, and the Baseball Aficionado podcast. Okay. There you go. Yes. So there you go right there. There you go, right there. I want to do a rundown of the basketball schedule for the New York Knicks and the New York Mets spring training schedule. So I'll do that right now. All right. So starting with Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th, New York Knicks versus Indiana Pacers. It's at 7:30 p.m. on Amazon Prime Video. You have Sunday, March 15th, Golden State Warriors versus New York Knicks on NBC. Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks on Tuesday, March 17th, 7:30 p.m. 7:30 p.m. on MSG. And and you got the New York Knicks versus the Memphis Grizzlies Wednesday, March 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. New York Knicks versus Brooklyn Nets Friday, March 20th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. Washington Wizards versus New York Knicks Sunday, March 22nd, 7:30 Eastern Time, MSG on MSG. Also New Orleans Pelicans versus New York Knicks Tuesday, March 24th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, MSG. New York Knicks versus Charlotte Hornets Thursday, March 26th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on MSG. New York Knicks versus Oklahoma City Thunder Sunday, March 29th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. Followed by New York Knicks versus Houston Rockets Tuesday, March 31st at 8 p.m. also on NBC. Let's see. Let me see. We're at Sunday. Yeah. Let me double check something for the 15th um the 15th of March for the New York Knicks. Let me check something so I can add it. Let me see. New York Knicks schedule. Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see for New York Knicks. Let's see. Um, Let me see. Yes. So March 15th is an 8 p.m. game actually. So I'm gonna add that right now. So yes. So it's 8 p.m. Let me add this. 8 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Okay, 8 p.m. Okay, cool. All right. Now to go on to the New York Mets spring training schedule. Actually, the TV broadcast schedule to be exact. So let's get to that. Okay, so for the New York Mets schedule in spring training, so let's get to that right here. Now, Friday the 13th, the New York Mets take on the Miami Marlins on SNY. Sunday, March 15th, New York Mets go against the Toronto Blue Jays at 1:10 p.m. on Pix 11. Monday, March 16th at 6 p.m., Washington Nationals versus the New York Mets on SNY. Friday, March 20th at 1:10 p.m., St. Louis Cardinals versus New York Mets on SNY. And Saturday, um, Saturday, March 30th. No, excuse me, March 21st. Saturday, March 21st, New York Mets versus Houston Astros at 1:10 p.m. on SNY. And Sunday, March 23rd. Hold on, I'm sorry. Hold on, the 22nd. You mean the 22nd? No, 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 no. Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Might be a little bit of a typo here. I think it might be a typo. Hold on a sec. Hold on 1 second here. New York Mets schedule. Okay. Might be a little bit of a typo. Let me just look this up real quick. So I can get the accurate information. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Yeah, March 16th. That's out of state. No, that's all right. So some of these games are basically out of market, so it's not on TV. So there you go. Let me see. This is Lord. 105, 110. Okay. Okay. Let me see. Yes. So it's March 22nd. March 20. No, wait. No, 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 no. March 22nd. No, no, no. Yeah. So this is where I. No, March 21st. March 21st. Hold on a second. March 21st. Yeah, I got that covered. No, March 21st. Yeah, that's Pix 11. Yeah, March 21st is on Pix 11. Okay. Okay, I just saw this error. Okay, let me just correct this. WPIX 11. Okay. And Sunday is the 20. Wait. Okay, so let me see. So let me see. Yeah. So March 20. So let me see. Okay. So yeah. So Saturday, March 21st at 1:10 p.m. Mets versus Houston Astros on Pix 11, not SNY. I had to make a little bit of a correction here. Let me see. Let me see. Um, and also, don't forget that the New York Mets um, opening date opening day is Thursday, March 26th. Yeah, March 26th. At Citi Field as the Mets go against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And don't forget that Freddie Peralta is going to be the opening day starter. So yeah, there you go. There you go, right there. All right, let's wrap up this sports podcast right here, man, in a bow. All right. Hold on 1 second here. All right. All right. So let's do this. Stream choices on the go. Let's do this. All right, folks. You know what to do, man. Make sure you follow the Sports Edition Show. Excellent, fun, vibrant talks podcast on Facebook alongside with Blue Sky Social, alongside with Threads and Instagram. And of course, the same goes for my other podcast as well, which is the Entertainment Review Show, Meticulous Juice podcast, and alongside with my comedy Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast. All right. Um, so yeah. So yeah. And you can also follow your host with the most G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York, on Threads and Instagram as well. Now, if you go to the link in bio, you're gonna see a whole list of audio streaming platforms that you can listen to the episodes on. So I'm gonna go over this with you. You go to the link in bio where it says Linktree/excellent fun vibrant talks pod. All right. So starting with Audible, Odyssey, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. Make sure you leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. And of course, a positive review. Tell me how you feel about the sports topics in today's episode and previous episode that you listened to so far. Castbox FM, these are Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Overhaul FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Pandora, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podo Polo, Podorama Podcast, Index Podcast, Addict, Podchaser, Podverse Podcast, Guru, Podcatcher, Podcast Republic, Snip. You can also add the podcast to your Spotify playlist. Add the podcast to your Spotify playlist. And of course, press the notification bell so you'll be notified on when each episode will be uploaded to the streaming platforms. And of course, Spotify for creators, TuneIn Radio, Fountain, Good Pods, iHeartRadio, the #1 app where you can listen to your favorite music artists, such as your favorite rappers, singers of R&B, pop stars in other music genres, and of course, your favorite AM and FM radio stations. And you can listen to the podcast episodes for free. You don't need a credit card or debit card to download iHeartRadio. All you need to do is this. Follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast, the Sports Edition show platform, on iHeartRadio. And of course, be sure to press the notification bell so you'll be notified on each episode going to be uploaded to iHeartRadio and other streaming platforms that I just mentioned. And make sure you click on the subscribe button on the sports YouTube channel page so you don't miss out on any new podcast recordings, any new live streams, and all that great stuff right there. Leave a like and a comment in the sports YouTube channel comment section. Now, you're more than welcome to actually comment in the community tab. I will add the link to the community tab after I get off the air. All right. And so also share the podcast alongside with the Linktree link of all the streaming platforms that you listen to, that you're familiar with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, the people you're cool with from work, whatsoever. And also share the videos. You can also download as well. You can also, and if you like the topics that I'm talking about here, you can leave me a tip on my Cashapp or my PayPal. No pressure. The choice is yours. Also enable alerts by pressing the notification bell so you'll be notified on each episode video podcast is uploaded to the YouTube channel page. Of course, more video podcast episode, live stream recordings, and of course, be on the lookout when I'm going to be on the air live. All right. So yeah, there you go, folks. There you go, folks. So that's gonna do it for me, man. I'm your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, rhymes with now or later. And I'd like to say thank you to every single one of you for listening to the podcast, whatsoever. And of course, this podcast episode is titled "Believe." You gotta believe when it comes to the New York Mets in spring training. They've been doing good so far. They've been doing good so far, though, man. Especially with Carson Banks and all the other prospects whatsoever. So yeah, there you go, right there, man. Um, Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. It's not gonna be given to you on a fucking silver platter. And of course, find your niche in whatever career field you're trying to do. If you plan on starting a podcast, make sure you be yourself behind the microphone. And of course, while you are recording your episodes and topics, and make sure you be on your P's and Q's creatively, mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. All right. And it's okay for you to take breaks though, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially when life is getting crazy and stuff. So don't put pressure on yourself, man. And don't worry about the numbers. The numbers. Don't worry about the number of subscribers. Don't worry about the algorithm and shit like that. So you don't want to fucking stress yourself out though, man. I've seen some podcasters um who actually stress themselves out and drive themselves crazy over fucking numbers and stuff. So the numbers the numbers is one thing, but you don't want to let the numbers define you. You feel what I'm saying? They always go crazy over numbers, man. I swear, man. Yeah, they always go crazy over the numbers shit though, man. And yes, man, um look, like I said before, man, some of the spring training games are not televised. Some of them is out the market. So that's I don't know how, I don't know how and why, but it's fucking ridiculous though, man. Like, let's be real, man. Anyway, man, like I said, man, I'm out to be out of here. I'm out to sign off. Tune in next time in the next episode where I actually talk about the whole thing with why do why is there going to be a lockout? Why is Rob Manfred wanting this? And of course, and of course, in a few topics involving Freddie Peralta's extension and all that great stuff, I will be back on the flip side and along with everything else to cover. I got you. Stay tuned for more new topics in the next episode. Peace and one love. Let's go, Mets. Good night, everybody.